Sumner County Court of Common Pleas is again in session. The Honorable Christine Croce presiding.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, Mr. D'Angelo, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Mr. Barkhurst, before we talk any more about your narrative presentation, I do want to clarify some of your previous testimony and talk to you about some of your previous testimony. You had indicated that at the residence at 714 Fultz, that you had reviewed video testimony from a certain time frame. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to put on the document camera State's Exhibit number 35. You had identified this, and this was previously identified by another witness. Do you see that here, there, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this video from State's Exhibit number 35 is from what house?
714 Fultz Street.
Okay, and the time frame here is for what time frame?
April 17, 2016, 2300 hours to 00 hours, April 18, 2016.
And you've reviewed all of this video on this disc?
Yes.
Do you know, can you tell the jury if this time period here takes into account the time difference that you previously testified to?
Can you repeat the question?
Does this time frame, 2300 to 000 hours, does that take into account the 3-hour and 55-minute time difference that you previously testified to?
No.
Okay. So when we look at this, it's really from 2:55 to 3:55. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And the testimony you gave, you said that you had reviewed some camera footage from 10 a.m. to, I believe, 4 a.m. Do you recall that?
10 p.m. I think it was.
10 p.m. to 4 a.m.
10 p.m. to around 3:30 a.m.
Okay. And what house was that in reference to?
That was at 719 Fultz.
All right. Now, Mr. Barkhurst, I'm going to draw your attention back to your document camera there. And we're beginning to talk a little bit about movements and things that you're noting in the narrative presentation. And I believe before lunch I asked you what types of things you're putting in the narrative presentation in the video presentation. What are those things that you're putting in there?
Activity that stands out to me, vehicles that that are seen potentially several times. Also, movement around the time of the fire.
Do the cameras always pick up video?
No.
And tell the jury why not. Why won't they always pick up video?
The motion detection can affect when the cameras can pick up video in motion.
Are there times in these cameras that we can't see beyond a certain point, or we just can't see a certain length?
There are times where we just don't have video.
Okay. And in looking at the cameras themselves, for example, this slide that's on the camera, I mean, we just can't see after a certain point down the street. Is that fair?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Barkhurst, I'm handing you a series of documents that have been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibits number 80 through 87. Please take a minute to look at those and let me know when you're finished.
Okay.
Mr. Barkhurst, did you have a chance to assist in preparation of a timeline that goes along with your narrative presentation?
Yes.
And State's Exhibits 80 through 87, what did these documents represent?
I observations on the video and information, for example, from alarm.com.
Okay, is this the timeline you assisted in preparing?
Yes.
Okay. Fair and accurate depiction of the timeline you assisted?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I'd ask that I have permission to pass these on.
All right, you may publish to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to receive a packet of exhibits that are marked 80 through 87. They correspond with the posters that are going to be up here that Mr. I think Barkhurst is going to testify to. Again, they are for demonstrative purposes only. When the testimony is complete, we will collect them, and if they are admitted into evidence, that being the posters, you'll have those at the time of deliberation. But that is ultimately a decision for the court to make, whether they are or are not admissible. So, but at this time, you're going to use what you have in your hand, if you choose to, for demonstrative purposes. And your objection is noted and overruled. Terry. Just for the record, please.
Okay, Mr. Barkhurst, we have the documents that you marked as, or you identified as State's Exhibits 80 through 87 are also on a poster board next to you. Do you see that poster board there, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'd like to reference you to slide 17, which is on the video screen next to you, and tell the jury what you're noting here.
At timestamp 12/26/33, vehicle moving frame map.
Okay, and it's a vehicle. Is it a car or a truck? Can you tell from this photo?
That's a truck.
Okay, and the truck has what going along the bottom of it? Would you describe that as?
Stripe.
Stripe. This truck, it says here, and is that noted on your timeline, sir?
The time and truck drives down Fultz. Yes.
Okay, and that you have on the timeline 12:26 a.m. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Now, it's traveling in a direction down Fultz. It says on your timeline towards Height. Is Height in that direction? Do you know? Can you describe that to the jury?
Yes.
Okay, so Height is, if you're looking at the map, as I'm pointing to here, below 719 Fultz.
Yes.
In the map that you have located here, this Google Earth map, what are you showing here with the arrow and the channel marked? What are you trying to show at that point?
Just the direction where camera 4 is pointing.
Okay. How many times do you see this truck? I mean, if you know approximately how many times you see this truck when you're watching this video.
I don't know the exact number, but multiple times potentially of that truck.
Going up and down the street.
Yes.
And as you testified, you're just noting movement, and you're putting it on the timeline and in your narrative presentation.
Yes.
All right, slide 18. Can you tell the jury what you're showing here?
That's the vehicle moving frame rate.
And what time is that?
12:40:41.
And that truck, or that vehicle, is going towards what street?
It's going towards East Avenue.
Okay. And as we look here on State's Exhibit number 12, which is behind you, so the jury has some reference. I'm sure they already know this, but I just want to make sure the record's clear. Can you please point to where East Avenue is?
East Avenue is up here.
Okay. Okay, next I'd like to move to slide 19. Can you tell the jury what you're noting here in your narrative presentation?
At 12:58:07 a.m., vehicle moving frame left.
Okay. Appears to be the same truck we saw in the prior slides.
Yes.
It's moving towards what street?
That's moving toward height.
Is that noted on your timeline?
Yes.
Okay. That would be State's Exhibit 81. It's noted. Okay. Now, next I'm referencing slide 20. Mr. Barkhurst, what are you noting on this slide?
At 1:08:21 a.m., individual about to get into the vehicle.
Okay. And you have here on your timeline, is that noted on your timeline, sir?
Yes.
Were you able to learn that that individual was a Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're at slide 21. What are you noting here? What are you showing?
At 1:09:10 a.m., vehicle exits driveway.
Okay. And this is from what, just so the record's clear, what camera?
Camera 4.
At what address?
That's 719 Fulton Street.
Slide 22, can you tell the jury what you're showing here?
1:26 a.m., vehicle moving frame left.
So 1:20:26 a.m. And that section here, when it says 1:20:26, what is the 26?
Seconds.
Seconds. Okay, so it's at 1:20 a.m. and 26 seconds, you see a car moving, frame left.
So I see a vehicle moving frame left.
In what direction is that going towards?
Towards height.
And that is noted on your timeline, sir?
Yes.
Our next slide is slide 23. Can you tell the jury what you're showing here?
1:43:43 a.m., vehicle backing up into driveway.
Okay. And were you, during the course of your looking into this case, were you able to learn that that, again, was Mr. Costa that's coming back?
Yes.
Is that noted on your timeline?
Yes.
That's slide 24 there. Tell the jury what you're showing here.
At 1:44:01 a.m., individual exits vehicle.
Okay. And just so we're clear, this is from the video from 719 Fultz, Channel 4.
Yes.
Slide 25. Can you tell the jury what you're noting here on this slide?
At 2:10:03 a.m., vehicle moving frame right.
Is this noted on your timeline?
Yes.
And that's on State's Exhibit 84?
Yes.
Once again, this appears to be a truck. Is that fair?
Yes.
And what's on the bottom side of that truck?
Start.
Okay. It's going in what direction?
Frame right towards East Avenue.
Mr. Barkhurst, I'm showing you two documents that have been marked for identification purposes, a State's Exhibit number 18 and 88. Do you see those photographs here?
Yes.
Mr. Barkhurst, State's Exhibit number 18, can you tell the jury what this is?
It's an overview map of the area.
All right. And down here on the bottom of State's Exhibit number 18, there's an address listed as 1608 East Avenue. Do you know what that location is, sir?
I believe it's the Circle K.
And did you see a Circle K at that when you went out and viewed the scene?
I was not at that scene.
Okay. Next, I'm going to show you a document marked State's Exhibit number 88. Do you see this picture here, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you see there in the corner of this photograph?
Truck.
And what does it have on the bottom of the truck?
Stripe.
I'm going to bring State's Exhibit 88 back to you, sir. Can you read the time there for us?
2/11/26.
Mr. Barkhurst, I'm going to show you a series of documents. They've been marked for identification purposes. State's Exhibits 21, 89, through 92, State's Exhibit 22, 23, and State's Exhibits 93 through 99. Can you please take a minute to look at all these documents? Let me know when you're finished. Mr. Barkhurst, we're going to go over these photographs individually, but very generally, can you tell the jury what these documents show?
A truck with stripe.
Okay. Located at what appears to be what?
Circle K.
Okay, sir. Mr. Barkhurst, I'm going to show on the document camera State's Exhibit number 21. Do you see that there, sir?
Yes.
And describe for the jury what you're showing in State's Exhibit 21.
It's a truck with a stripe.
Okay. And it's difficult to read, but can you read the time there up on the top?
2:25:53 a.m.
Okay. And is that time noted on your timeline, State's Exhibit 84?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 89, can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay, and do we see a person here, is that fair?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 90, can you tell the jury what we're looking at in this photograph?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay, and you see another individual here?
I see an individual there. Yes.
State's Exhibit 91, tell the jury what you're looking at in this photograph?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay. Once again, another photograph of an individual, is that fair?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 92, can you tell the jury what we're looking at in this photo?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay. See another individual?
I see an individual. Yes.
Okay. Just so we're clear, the time appears to be what at this juncture?
2:26:12 a.m.
State's Exhibit 22, can you tell the jury what we're looking at in this photo?
A truck with a stripe.
Okay. And we see, what do we see over here in the corner of State's Exhibit 22?
An individual.
State's Exhibit 23, what do we see in this photo?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay. And we see now more people, is that fair, sir?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 93, what do you see in this photo?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay. Again, you see this individual in the corner. Is that fair?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 94. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
Truck with a stripe.
And individuals there at this location.
Yes.
State's Exhibit 95. What do you see here, sir?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay, and you see an individual there is walking. Is that fair?
Yes.
And can you read the time there?
2:27:38 a.m.
Okay. State's Exhibit 96. Can you describe that for the jury?
A truck with a stripe.
Okay. And we see an individual. Is this the front or the back of an individual that you see?
The back.
State's Exhibit 97. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at this on this photo?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay. And what's the time there up on the top?
2:27:55 a.m.
State's Exhibit number 98. Can you describe that for the jury?
A truck with a stripe.
Okay. And do you see the individual that appeared to be approaching that car anymore?
Can you ask that again, please?
Do you see that individual that was approaching the car earlier?
On what slide?
State's Exhibit 97.
Okay, yes.
All right. And finally, State's Exhibit number 99. Do you see this photograph?
Yes.
Okay, what do you see?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay. And what time is that?
2:28:06.
Now I'd like to draw your attention back to your narrative presentation, sir. What do you note on this slide?
Vehicle moving frame left.
And what type of vehicle is it?
It's a truck.
With what on the bottom?
Stripe.
And what time is that?
2:28:47 a.m.
In what direction is it traveling?
Moving frame left towards height.
Okay. Is that noted on your timeline?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next, I'd like to move to slide number 27. Tell the jury what you're noting here.
2:56 a.m. On the time stamp in the video itself, it says second 51. I point out light.
Okay. And what are these lights that we see here where you have the arrow pointed?
I believe that's the rear of a vehicle or something that is reflective.
Describe that to the jury. Why are we seeing that in this video camera?
Because there's infrared cameras.
Okay, and what does that mean?
So the cameras record in the infrared spectrum and they shine infrared light to show what's going on at nighttime.
What types of things give off infrared light?
Things that will reflect infrared light. So from just my experience with watching videos over the years, license plates can be reflective, also the back of vehicles.
And by back of vehicles, what are you describing on the back of a vehicle?
The tail lights.
All right. And what time is this that you're noting this at?
This is at 2:56 a.m.
And why are you noting it?
Because later on, the light becomes dark.
Okay. What light?
The light below the arrow.
Okay. And what is that light? Do you know? Is that a tail light? Is it a license plate light?
It's, without looking here, it's just something reflective.
Okay. So it's some sort of infrared light.
It's the infrared light being reflected off something.
Okay. Now, Mr. Barkhurst, back here on your map, you're noting what here on the map? What are you trying to notate?
On the map is the direction that camera 3 is pointing, general direction.
So this view is from camera 3
Yes.
at what address?
At 714 Fulton Street.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to move to slide 28. What are you noting here?
At second 52, it's dark, so that light is not there.
All right. Is this darkening of this tail light, is that noted on your timeline?
In the narrative report,
On the timeline that you have in front of you, sir?
at 256. Yes,
And what state's exhibit is that?
85.
What are you showing here in slide 29?
At the second 53 light.
Okay. So we go from second 51 on one slide to second 50 where the light is present. Is that right? Sir?
Yes,
Second 52, the light is not present. Correct?
correct,
And then second 53, it is present again.
correct.
Are the lights on? These tail lights, are they on? Can
No.
you tell? Okay. And how can you tell that?
I don't see light on the, excuse me, I don't see light projected on the ground.
Okay. Now, we also see vehicles in the front of this frame, sir, on this slide, and are you seeing the infrared light there too?
Where at?
I'll point to them on your screen here. These vehicles here at the bottom, do you see infrared light coming from those
Yes,
vehicles? Okay. All right. Next, I'd like to move to slide 30. Tell the jury what you're showing here.
that's information from alarm.com. Alarm monitor panel disarmed on 4/18/2016, 2:57 a.m.
Okay. And is that noted on your timeline?
Yes,
Mr. Barkhurst, I'd like to draw your attention to State's Exhibit number 40, which has been previously identified in this case. You see that 40 there, sir, at the bottom of your screen?
yes,
All right. Next, I'd like to draw your attention to this page. It's going to be page 27 for the record. Okay. Now, can you read on point? Do you see my finger here, sir, on Safety Exhibit 40?
yes.
Can you please read that word for us?
Monitor,
Hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, Mr. D'Angelo, it is what it is. The jury will make the determination as to what the records entail. So your objections sustained.
Mr. Barkhurst, when you say panel disarmed, the records in 40 actually say panel disarmed by Stanley Ford.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, you're the trier of fact, and how the evidence bears out and who disarmed that alarm will be a decision that you make. Mr. Barkhurst is testifying as to the documents that were provided by Alarm.com, and you've heard testimony from Mr. DaCosta from Alarm.com and his explanation of those things. So you'll rely on your collective memories. You'll be the decider of who disarmed or alarm or armed that alarm. Excuse me. Sustained.
Thank you, Judge. Okay, and so you're noting here on your narrative presentation, Mr. Barkhurst, that it's at 2:57 a.m.
yes,
And these are based on documents that you received from Alarm.com.
yes,
Mr. Barkhurst, I'd like to draw your attention to slide 31 here on this exhibit, your narrative presentation. Tell the jury what you're noting here.
Vehicle moving frame left.
And this camera is from what address?
That is from 714 Fulton Street.
And what time is that?
The time is 4/18/2016, 3:01 a.m.
3:01 a.m. And is this noted on your timeline?
Yes.
And that's marked as State's Exhibit number what, this form of the timeline?
86.
Okay. The truck is moving in what direction, sir?
Moves towards East Avenue.
Slide number 32, can you tell the jury what you're noting in this slide?
It's the vehicle moving frame right.
Okay. And this is from what camera?
That's from camera 4,
From what address?
719 Fulton Street.
And what are you showing here, sir, at slide number 33?
That vehicle getting ready to turn left on East Avenue
It's turning left on East Avenue at what time?
at 3:02 a.m.
Back to slide 32. What type of vehicle is this, sir?
That's a truck.
And what's on the bottom of the truck?
Stripe.
Go ahead.
Mr. Barkhurst, I'm showing you a series of documents that have been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibits 100, 19, and 101, 102, and State's Exhibit number 20. Please take a minute to look at those. Let me know when you're finished, sir. Okay, Mr. Barkhurst, generally, just very generally, we'll go over these. What do you see in these photographs?
Gas station pump.
Okay, and what else do you see in these photos?
A truck, stripes, with a stripe.
Now, on your narrative presentation, you have the truck turning left onto East Avenue at what time again, sir?
At 3:02 a.m.
And I'm going to draw your attention to State's Exhibit 100 on the document camera here. What do you see here in the corner, sir?
A truck with a stripe.
And what time is it?
3:03:28 a.m.
State's Exhibit number 19. What do we see here in this photograph, sir?
Truck with a stripe.
State's Exhibit number 101. What do we see in this photo?
Truck with a stripe.
And what else is apparent in this photograph?
Individual.
Individual. Okay. State's Exhibit number 102. What do you show in this photo?
Truck with a stripe.
And do you see individuals, two individuals in this photo?
Yes.
Finally, State's Exhibit number 20. What do you see in this photo, sir?
Truck with a stripe.
Okay. And what time is that, if you can see it? I can bring it up.
3:04:58 a.m.
Okay. And is this noted on your timeline? This truck at the Circle K?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 86. Right. Our next slide, sir. What do we show here at, it looks like 3:02 a.m.?
Vehicle moving frame left.
Okay. And where is that vehicle that you have the arrow pointed to?
It's on the street behind 1374 Hillcrest.
Okay, so it's on the street behind 1374 Hillcrest, which is what street?
East Avenue.
Okay, so you can kind of see it traveling through that direction. Is that fair?
Yes.
And that's at 3:02 a.m. Okay. Our next slide here, what do you see here at 3:05 a.m.?
Vehicle moving frame right.
Okay. You can't tell what type of vehicle that is that fair?
Yes, correct.
Our next slide, can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
Vehicle turning on the street.
And right, our next slide on your narrative presentation, what are you looking at here?
Vehicle moving frame left.
And that's at what time?
3:05:46 a.m.
What type of vehicle is it?
Truck with stripe.
And it's moving in what direction, sir?
Towards height.
Is that on your timeline? Do you have that noted on your timeline?
Yes.
Okay. Next, I'd like to bring you to the next slide. What are we noting here?
The number slide,
Hold on. This is slide 38.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
What are you noting here? What are we looking at in this slide?
The vehicle moving frame right.
And this is from what camera?
Camera 4 from 714 Fulton Street.
Okay. Slide 39, can you tell the jury what you're pointing out in this slide?
A light.
Okay. And where is that light?
That is in the driveway between 1374 Hillcrest Street and 1370 Hillcrest Street.
Okay. Can you please point to the driveway you're referring to, sir?
This driveway?
Okay. So that's where those series of lights are.
Yes.
What type of lights are those again?
The rear lights.
Infrared lights coming from like a vehicle. That's it.
Being reflective.
Mr. Barker, so that's reflective light, just so we're clear.
Yes, this is light.
Okay.
It's light being reflective.
What time is this slide?
3:13 a.m.
Next. We're on, going to slide 40. What are you noting here in slide 40?
It's dark.
Okay. In what is dark?
That area where the light was being reflected.
All right. And at what time is this?
At 3:13 a.m.
Is that noted on your time? Stacy's at 86.
Yes.
Okay. Next, I'm going to talk to you about slide 44. What are you noting here?
At second 32, the light's visible.
Okay. So once again, at second 30, we don't see a light. 31, we do see a light. 32, we see a light here. Fair?
Fair.
Mr. Barkhurst, what are you noting in slide number 41?
At 3:13 a.m., vehicle moving frame right.
Okay. And on what street is that on?
East Avenue.
This is from camera what?
3. From
What?
714 Fulton Street.
Okay. Next, I'm going to move to slide 43. Can you tell the jury what you're noting here, sir?
Individual visible.
Okay. And where is that individual on this slide?
On Fulton Street.
Okay. And you have noted, how do you have it noted on this slide?
Can you repeat the question?
How do you, on this slide, it's showing this camera view, how do you have the individual noted?
But with an arrow.
Okay. And this is from camera 4 from 714 volts?
Yes.
This is slide 43. We're going to move to slide 44. What are you noting here, sir?
Vehicle and individual visible.
Okay. And how do you have those noted on this slide from camera 4?
With the arrows.
Okay. And the individual that you see, where is he located that you have the slide? Just describe it for the record.
On the right side.
The right side of what?
Well, we have an arrow pointing to a vehicle on the left side of this image, and then an individual walking on the right side.
Okay. And he's walking on the right side. What are you referring to?
Frame right.
Okay. And this is, can you see my cursor there, sir?
Yes.
And that is what residence?
That is 719 Fulton Street.
Okay. Let me go to the next slide. What are you noting in this slide, sir?
A vehicle backing up.
Okay. What time is this at?
3:14 a.m.
And is that noted on your timeline that you prepared?
Yes.
What are you noting on our next slide here?
The vehicle turning frame left.
And onto what road?
East Avenue.
Okay. What are you noting here at this slide? 3:14 a.m.
Individual and visible.
And what are you noting at this slide?
Vehicle moving frame left.
Okay. And that's on East Avenue again?
Yes.
This is a camera view from camera 3 from 714 Fultz?
Yes, 714 Fulton Street.
Okay. What are you noting here on this slide, sir?
Liquid visible.
Where is this camera?
That is on 719 Fulton Street.
Okay. And how do you have the liquid noted here on this slide, sir?
Just with an arrow.
What do you see here next?
Individual or an object.
Okay. What time is this at?
3:15, 12 a.m.
And this is from channel 4 from 719 Fultz?
Yes.
What are you showing here, sir, on this slide?
Flames visible.
Okay. What about this slide? Can you tell the jury what you're looking at here?
Individual moving frame left.
This is once again from camera 4 from 714 Fultz?
Yes.
Okay. And Back to this slide here, you have the arrow pointed at what?
Flames visible.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Now, is this attempt here noted on your timeline?
Yes.
Okay. And as you watch it, where does this individual go looking at this next slide?
Towards the left.
Okay. And he's running towards, this would be East Avenue back here, is that right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. You're noting the individual using what?
An arrow.
Okay, the red arrow. All right. At some point, do we lose sight of him when you watch this?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Barkhurst, I'd like to go back to this slide here.
Which slide is that?
This is going to be slide 50. On slide 50, Mr. Barkhurst, you have an individual holding object. Can you tell what the individual is wearing?
Just
Objection.
You can testify as to what you see.
Overruled.
something with long sleeves and a hood on top.
Okay. Can you talk to the jury about, based on your experience as a video analyst, what we have to be cautious of when it comes to colors and different things like that when you're watching a video of this nature?
With infrared, there's what's called an infrared. It's in black and white. There are some times where something dark could appear bright and something bright could appear dark. It really depends on the fabric.
Okay. Okay. All right. Next, Mr. Barkhurst, I'm going to like to reference you back to slide 54 of your narrative presentation. Can you tell the jury what you're looking at in this slide?
Vehicle moving frame left.
Okay. And what do you see here in this photo, sir? Slide 55?
Vehicle moving frame left.
That's at what time?
3:15 a.m.
And this is coming from camera 3 from 714 Folds.
Yes.
Now, in slide would be 56, can you tell the jury what you have noted here in this slide?
Movement visible.
Where is the movement visible?
Under where the arrow is.
Okay. And in relation to this map that you have behind you, where is that?
That is behind 1374 Hillcrest.
Okay. Our next slide here, sir, what are you noting here with your arrow?
Movement visible.
This slide at 3:20 a.m., can you tell the jury what you note here?
Light visible.
Okay, and where is that light visible at?
Underneath the arrow.
All right, but in what residence?
At 1374 Hillcrest.
Okay, is that noted on your timeline?
Yes.
And what time does the light become visible when you watch the video, sir?
At 3:20.
Okay. Just to go back, did you note on your timeline the movement on the side of this residence?
Yes.
Okay. Our next slide, can you tell the jury what you're noting here at 3:20 a.m.?
A A light is no longer visible.
At what residence?
At 1374 Hillcrest.
Okay, and what are we noting here in this slide?
Light is visible.
Okay, and where is that light visible?
At 1374 Hillcrest.
Where at 1374 Hillcrest do you see the light coming from?
At the door.
Okay, and why is that?
Objection.
Overrule as to the form of the question. I mean, sustained as to the form of the question.
Thank you, Judge. What are we seeing here at the door, Mr. Barkhurst? What are you seeing?
Light.
Okay, and what is the door made of?
I don't know.
Okay. Is this noted on your timeline at 3:20 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. What are we noting here at this next slide at 3:20 a.m.?
Light is no longer visible.
Okay. And the light on the door that we previously saw is no longer visible now. Fair.
The light's no longer visible that you
Okay.
saw in the previous frame.
Right. Next at 3:21 a.m., can you tell the jury what we're looking at in this slide?
Light is visible.
And where is that light coming from?
1374 Hillcrest Street.
Is this noted on your timeline?
Yes.
Okay. At 3:21 a.m., we see the light at 1374 Hillcrest. What are you noting here on this slide?
Movement visible.
What do you mean by movement visible? What are you trying to describe there?
There's movement in that house.
Okay, so you can see movement going on in the house.
Yes.
And this next slide, what are you noting here, sir?
A light is no longer visible.
Can I lock it, Judge?
No. I'm trying to get it.
Okay, that's at 3:21 a.m.
Yes.
Next at this next slide, what are you noting here?
Vehicle moving frame left.
All right, and this is from camera 4 from 714 Fultz.
Yes.
It's going in what direction, sir?
Frame left.
And it's going towards what street?
East Ave.
What about this slide? Tell us what you're noting here.
Vehicle moving frame right.
And this is from what camera and what house?
Camera 4 from 719 Fultz Street.
Okay. What are you showing here at 3:23 a.m.?
Vehicle turning frame right.
And this series of slides starts at 3:25 a.m. Mr. Barkhurst, can you tell the first thing that you're noting with, I guess you have marked number 1. What are you noting here?
Vehicle moving frame right.
Okay. And that vehicle is on East Avenue?
Yes.
What are you noting here with slide 2? Or, excuse me, number 2.
A light.
Okay. Light on a vehicle located where?
In between 1374 Hillcrest and 1370 Hillcrest.
Okay. Reflective light.
From IR, yes.
Next, at this slide, what are you noting here, sir, with your arrow?
No light.
All right. And is that noted on your time line at 3:25 a.m.?
Correct.
Okay. What are you noting here at this slide?
Light.
Okay. And what do we start to see here from camera 4 at 714 Fultz?
A vehicle turning onto street.
Okay. This is at what time?
3:25.
All right. And you note this in later activity, but this is noted on your timeline too, right? The vehicle turning on to Fultz.
Yes.
Mr. Barkhurst, tell the jury what you're starting to note here in this next slide.
Number 1, movement visible. Number 2, vehicle backing up.
Okay. And our next slide, tell the jury what you're noting here with your arrow.
Individual moving frame right.
Okay. And this next slide here, what are you showing here, sir, with your arrow?
Individual moving frame right.
Okay. And this arrow of this individual is located between 719 Fultz and that next house next to it. Is that fair, sir?
Yes.
Is that noted on your timeline, him walking down Fultz and going in that area?
Yes.
Next, can you describe what you're showing to the jury here in this slide?
Vehicle lights turning off.
And at this slide, can you tell the jury what you are noting here?
Container being squeezed.
Okay. And what time is that at?
3:26:06 a.m.
Is this noted on your timeline, sir?
Yes.
What are we seeing here in this frame?
Flames visible.
At what time?
3:26:09.
What about this slide? What are you showing?
Container being squeezed.
Okay. What else do you see on the side of the house?
Flames.
This is from 719 Fultz, Channel 4. Is that fair, sir?
Yes.
What are you showing here on our next slide here, sir, from camera 4 of 714 Fultz?
Individual moving frame left.
Okay. This next slide?
Individual moving frame left.
And he's running on Fultz Avenue, or the individual is running on Fultz Avenue.
Correct.
This slide? This next slide?
Individual moving frame left.
And this is at what time?
3:26 a.m.
This is noted on your timeline?
Yes.
What are you noting here in this next slide, sir?
Vehicle turn lights on.
Okay. Is this noted on your timeline?
Yes.
What do you notice here, sir, at 3:26 a.m.?
Vehicle turns frame left.
And it's turning onto what road?
East Avenue.
What did you note here at 3:27 a.m., sir?
Vehicle moving frame left.
Okay, so it's on East Avenue.
Yes.
And what do you start to notice here in this next slide?
Movement visible.
Okay, and it's visible on the side of what location?
1374 Hillcrest Street.
At what time?
3:27 a.m.
All right, and that's noted on your timeline.
Yes.
What do we see in this next slide, sir, with your red arrow?
Where the movement is.
Okay. What do we see at this next slide?
Light visible.
Okay, and where is the light visible?
Underneath the arrow.
Okay, of what building?
1374 Hillcrest Street.
Is that noted on your timeline?
Yes.
At what time?
3:28 a.m.
What are you seeing in this next slide here?
Light not visible.
Okay. We're back to, looks like camera 4 from 714 Fultz. Mr. Barkhurst, can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
Vehicle moving frame left.
All right. And what time is that at?
3:28 a.m.
What are you noting here at 3:29 a.m., sir?
Vehicle turning frame left.
Okay. And is this vehicle, it's turning on what street there?
That will be Hillcrest Street.
Okay. What are you noting here, sir?
Vehicle backing up.
All right. And that's at what time?
3:29 a.m.
Okay. And once again, from camera 4 of 714 Fultz, what are you noting?
Vehicle moving frame right.
It's going back down Fultz towards Height. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. At 3:33 a.m., tell the jury what you're noting here in this slide.
Light visible.
Where?
In between 1374 Hillcrest and 1370 Hillcrest.
Okay. And that's at what second of 3:33 a.m.?
Second 8.
Okay. What do we see at second 9?
Light not visible.
Okay. You're noting that with your arrow again?
Yes.
And at second 10, what do you see again, sir?
Light visible.
Is this tail light darkening and becoming light again noted on your timeline, States Exhibit 87?
Yes.
Okay. Our next slide is back to the camera 4 from 714 Fultz. Can you tell the jury what you're noting here?
Movement visible.
Okay, and where is that movement visible on what street?
Full Street.
Okay, and you have it noted with the arrow?
Yes.
Our next slide, what do you see, sir?
Individual moving frame right.
Okay. And the next slide, what are you noting here with your arrow?
Individual moving frame right.
Okay. And he's this individual is once again in the driveway of where?
719 Full Street, there's an individual in the driveway.
Okay, so he's in between those two residences, between 719 Fultz and the neighboring residence, the individual.
The individual is, yes.
Okay. This walking down Fultz Street, this individual at 3:33 a.m., is that noted on your timeline?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Is this walking down Fultz, is that individual walking on Fultz noted on your timeline at 3:33 a.m.?
Yes.
Next, sir, I'd like to draw you to this slide. Just so the record's clear, what camera is this coming from?
That's channel 4 from 719 Full Street.
And what do you see?
An individual.
Okay, and where is the individual standing?
By the porch.
Okay. Our next slide, can you tell the jury what you're showing here?
Individual next to flames.
Okay. And this is at what time?
3:34:20 a.m.
Okay. Is that noted on your timeline, States Exhibit 87?
Yes.
This next slide, can you tell the jury what they're looking at here?
Individual moving frame right.
And this is at what time?
3:34:21 a.m.
When you look at this photograph, sir, what do you notice about the color of this person's pants?
Again, it appears a light tone, but again, this is infrared, so it could be dark.
Okay. Does the tone of the pants appear to be the same as the tone of the shirt that the person's wearing?
I don't see a shirt.
Coat?
It's similar on this image.
Okay.
Again, there's no color. It's a black and white image.
Okay. What does the individual appear to have on his head, from what you can see? And this image here, sir, can you tell the jury what you're noting here?
Individual moving frame right.
Okay. This is at what time?
3:34:22 a.m.
Okay. What are you noting here at 3:34 a.m.?
Individual moving frame left
On what street?
on Fulton Street.
Okay. And is this noted on your timeline at 3:34 a.m.?
At what time?
3:34 a.m. Is this noted on your timeline?
Yes.
Our next slide here, sir, can you tell the jury what you're observing here?
Individual moving frame left.
Our next slide here.
Individual moving frame left.
This is from camera 4, 714 Fultz. You have it marked with an arrow, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And our next slide, sir, with this arrow, what are you noting here?
Individual moving frame left.
Okay. Now, as we see from this camera view, camera 4 from channel or from 714 Fultz, what residence is this right here?
1370 Hillcrest Street.
This individual going behind 1370 Hillcrest, is that noted on your timeline?
Objection.
Yeah, sustained.
Is this movement here that you're noting with the arrow noted on your timeline, sir?
Objection.
Overruled. Man.
Yes.
What are we showing here, sir?
Individual no longer visible.
Next, I'd like to draw your attention to this slide. It's back to camera 3 from 714 Fultz. What are you showing here?
Light.
Okay. And where is the light coming from?
In between 1374 Hillcrest and 1370 Hillcrest.
Reflective light.
Yes.
That's at what time?
3:34 a.m.
What are we showing here? Then that was, excuse me, second. What second is that in your slide that you noted?
On the timestamp in the video there, it's second 37.
All right. And what do you note here in your next slide, second 38?
There's no light.
Okay. At second 39, what do you see?
Light.
Okay. What are we showing here at 3:40 a.m., Mr. Barkhurst?
Movement.
Okay. When you watch the video, you see movement on the side of the house there that's on fire?
Behind the house.
Yeah, okay. That house is 719 Fultz?
Yes.
Finally, this slide here, 3:42 a.m. Can you tell the jury what you're noting here?
The vehicle's visible in the driveway.
Okay. And this is at what time?
3:42 a.m.
Okay. Now back up a little bit on your timeline, State's Exhibit number 87. Were you given information as to the time a 911 call was made?
Yes.
And tell the jury about that.
I was provided a 911 call. There's a time on the call that states the start time.
And what was that time?
3:39 a.m.
What are you noting here at 3:44 a.m., sir?
The fire engine arrival time.
And what are you finally noting here on slide 115, sir?
Alarm monitor panel armed away on 4/18/2016, 6:03 a.m.
Okay. And that's from the alarm.com records?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Mr. Barkhurst, I'd like to show you what you previously spoke about. You conducted a video presentation,
Yes.
and I'd like to bring up State's Exhibit number 66. Sir, I'm here at the title. It looks like the title slide here. Can you describe for the jury what we're looking at?
The beginning of my video presentation.
Okay. Okay. All right. So this is this a fair, have you watched this video presentation prior to coming into court today, Mr. Barkhurst?
Yes.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of the video presentation that you prepared for this case and incident on April 18th of 2016?
Yes.
Mr. Barkhurst, I'm going to pause it right here. Here you have noted no relevant activity observed from approximately 4:18, 16, 12:26 to 12:40 a.m. Do you see this portion of your video presentation?
Yes.
Describe for the jury what you mean when you note no relevant activity.
So that would be like repeating vehicles that could be the same vehicles, movement around where the fire occurred. And
Were you going to say something else, sir?
no, that's it.
Okay. Judge, we don't have any.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before Mr. Riley cross-examines Mr. Barkhurst, we're going to go ahead and take our afternoon break. Remember the admonition I previously given you about this case. It's important that you be fair and attentive throughout the trial. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. This includes family, friends, and the media. You must not post or read anything about this case on the internet or any other electronic device, including cell phones. Any such discussion, if discovered, could lead to a mistrial and would severely compromise the party's right to a fair trial. Do not permit anyone to discuss this case with you or in your presence. And again, do not form or express any opinion on this case until it's finally been submitted to you. Pass your packets of 80 through 86 to the end. And those of you in the back, just when you come up, hand them to Mr. Masich. And then you'll leave your notepads upside down on your chairs. And if any of you need additional notepads, let the court know. We'll get you some additional ones. Yellow pads, I mean. All right, so it is 2:25. If you'll be back in the jury room at 2:40, we'll begin the cross-examination.
All rise, please.